各位，家居車房地台流行新興嘅打理方法，一陣介紹。依家首先報道三文魚回游產卵。過分捕獵破壞棲息地及氣候轉變，令到安省嘅大西洋三文魚喺100年前面臨絕種危機。今日大家仍然能夠欣賞到大西洋三文魚跳閘現象，有賴環保團體同埋政府多年來嘅修復及保育行動。梁嘉怡報導。
喺秋風送爽嘅季節，好多人就算唔專程去欣賞楓葉，有時揸車或者步行，路經樹叢，一樣欣賞到紅葉綺麗嘅風光。上風嘅季節，亦係觀賞三文魚跳閘嘅時令，但要睇到三文魚嘅蹤影，就得驅車前往專程尋覓。三文魚係加拿大、智利、挪威、蘇格蘭等國家水系生態嘅特產。喺安大略湖一帶，每年秋季前後，呢度嘅品種大西洋三文魚 （Atlantic Salmon） 喺各大小河道逆流而上，去到上游河岸淺水嘅地方產卵。有人稱之為三文魚跳閘。本國既有地利之優，國民好方便，可以一睹三文魚力爭上游、生命力頑強嘅自然生態現象。亦都可以多了解呢種三文魚跳閘產卵嘅生態週期，同大西洋三文魚品種100年前曾經差唔多絕跡。
They were actually all locally extinct, so there was no longer Atlantic salmon in this area. That being said, fast forward, decades, Pacific salmon, so the coho and the chinook, the type of salmon that we would see in the west coast of Canada, were brought over and introduced, and that's what we're actually seeing most of the time here now. That being said, the Atlantic salmon are starting to come back. There's a great restoration effort in place to actually, welcome back Atlantic salmon to these waters. Thanks to incredible restoration efforts of organizations like, Ontario Federations of Anglers and Hunters and the Ministry of Natural Resources here in Ontario, and conservation authorities like Toronto Region Conservation Authority and Credit Valley and so many others. And what's fascinating, I think, is that, we still don't know exactly how they're doing this, right? There's a lot of theories. Smell is actually starting to become a much more, accepted theory, magnetic fields. But to be honest, there's still some mystery in terms of how salmon are actually finding their way back to where they spawned originally.
喺大多倫多睇三文魚跳閘，唔需要揸長途幾個鐘頭車出埠睇。多倫多地區保育組織網站有一個互動地圖，展示多倫多及周邊地區邊度睇到三文魚跳閘。呢啲觀賞點亦係保育組織監察及評估三文魚喺不同水系中是否健康生長，以及河流中嘅障礙物，例如係水壩或者係水閘，如何妨礙三文魚往上游產卵。保育組織並興建人工階梯，協助啲魚往上游產卵。喺跳閘嘅季節，視乎水流同天氣，一啲河道未必見到好多三文魚嘅蹤影。好似我哋喺剛過去嘅9月中，去過多倫多嘅 Humboldt River 水系附近，以及 Morningside 地區嘅河道，都好少三文魚。而9月中旬至下旬，去到多倫多東邊嘅 Port Hope， 卻可以話見到成千上萬嘅三文魚喺水閘旁邊準備逆流而跳。
Largely related to climate change. Even the last few weeks here in Toronto, it's been very warm, unseasonably warm. We haven't had rain for a little while. Means that the water level's a little lower than it would be typically. The water temperature is a little higher. This plays a role in terms of providing that ideal habitat, those ideal conditions for salmon to migrate. The other thing we're seeing a lot of is, pollution, stormwater pollution. Particularly chlorides, salts going into the water. Salmon, as well as many other fish and aquatic species, are very sensitive to this.
記者喺現場所見，三文魚就算唔係因為跳閘產卵而死亡，好多魚因為頭部撞擊水閘嘅石屎建設或者人造階梯而受傷。原本黑色嘅魚頭都撞到甩晒皮，變成紅色。見證大自然生生不息、生機勃勃、自然生趣嘅景象，更覺生物喺川流無止嘅運行中係幾咁渺小。三文魚逆流跳閘，甚至要面對死亡。 保育人士話，遊人見到河岸邊有死去嘅三文魚係一個自然現象，唔需要感到詫異或者特別向政府報告。
It's a little stinky, right? You know, it's very smelly. Here we can take a closer look. There's a salmon there that's decomposing. This is actually a very natural part of the life cycle. A Pacific salmon, after they spawn, both the males and females will die. The exception is Atlantic salmons. You know, native and certainly GTA, they continue their life cycle. They continue, you know, their journey back downstream and could, you know, spawn several times within their lifetime. But the point is decomposing salmon, and they see the bodies, which is very common. They get worried, oh, what's wrong? What's happening? You know, the salmon are dying. Well, a lot of the time, especially if they're Pacific salmon, or certainly when they are Pacific salmon, that's a natural part of their life cycle.
多倫多地區保育組織收集同三文魚生態有關嘅數據，例如氣温、河水酸鹼度以及市民匯報嘅資料同上傳圖片，都有助進一步保育三文魚生態。組織有時會舉辦導賞團，帶領公眾去睇三文魚跳閘，又或者喺市政公園舉辦展覽，教育公眾有關三文魚成長及生態嘅知識及注意面對城市化嘅污染問題。並呼籲大眾可以如何出一分力，為三文魚營造環境友善嘅生存空間。